Hey, what's up? Want to geek out about AI? So first thing I'm just going to do real quick is just go over how AI works for really briefly for people that don't have a concept of it. But it's basically creating a program that creates programs that evolve. So for instance, you have a program that needs to accomplish some goal. You have the program create thousands of random little pieces of code, all just generated to see which one gets closest to accomplishing the goal. Then all the programs that don't, basically the best of them, are then copied and slightly changed. And then of those ones, you see which one gets closest to accomplishing the goal and do that again. And so at first it could be like thousands of evolutions of either things not moving or not being effective until you start getting some movement in a certain direction towards accomplishing that goal. And what's cool about this is you can have something that learns and evolves its knowledge of a thing years worth of time in days or weeks or months, however, whatever your server and resource setup is. So you can, especially now, a lot of AI is being able to accomplish whatever thing better than a human can at that one specific thing. There's also the concept of general AI, which is a whole other thing, but I won't worry about that for right now. But so the easy example of that is there's an AI that I can't remember what the numbers are, but it was something like it could look at moles and distinguish 92% of the time whether a mole was cancerous, whereas the most professional doctors can do 82% or something like that. I can't remember, but that's an area I don't want to mess up numbers on. But the point is by being able to do all these evolutions, it's able to be very good at one thing. And what's crazy is now there's so many creative things people are doing with that. There was a AI that someone wrote. They didn't release this one, but someone wrote that could make up believable original articles that were fake news. But by looking at the patterns of how people write and what is a believable article, they were able to make something that could spit out thousands of believable articles per minute. And honestly, we're probably not far off if it already isn't already, someone out there that has made that. But the idea is that you can write stuff that people understand and believe. That the people that wrote that specific one that I'm talking about decided they released the articles as an example, but they didn't want to release the technology because obviously that's sketchy. You're going to drown believable news with clickbait fake news, which is already an issue. Adding AI to it is fuel to the fire. But they also have things like AI that can create. You can type in a yellow bird and it will make a photorealistic, though very low resolution, but still distinguishably a yellow bird and an original image, and also enough resolution to tell that it looks real. And you can type anything. Any type of bird. I think that one's specifically designed for birds. I'll link to a video from Cold Fusion. It's an older video, but of a bunch of this technology that was kind of around like 3 years ago or something. So things have already evolved. And the crazy thing with AI is a lot of this technology is happening so fast that some of the viability of it is almost fleeting in the moment it's released. But some of it, obviously, like deepfakes, is very valuable very quickly. Being able to just replace someone's face talking with someone else's face is something people can do all kinds of crazy things with, and is being used more and more in our society. Mostly to shock people right now. or confuse people, but it has gotten very accessible. Which way should I go here? And so when you think about that, the idea of deepfakes, and the idea of creating original images, and the original idea of creating original texts, you realize even though we're at a pretty early and primitive stage of AI as far as consumer technologies, that's already the pieces to storytelling. And I think there will be a point where, and I don't think it's that far, but I think there will be a point where you can type in, I want a film, sort of in the same way that like these things that we think are normal now, but are somewhat miraculous, that you can just be like, and I want a puppy on my face, and it's going to track my mouth and do all the faces I do. That's amazing technology for us to have on our phone right now. And that is, tracking technology, not so much AI technology. They may use some AI, but probably not. So when you think about that, I would be shocked if there isn't a coming surge of media that starts being generated entirely through AI, and maybe even entirely through phones. Well, not maybe, eventually through whatever is the phone or whatever replaces that. So maybe in 10 years, you type in me and my friend in a space battle with Jeff or some name, whatever. And it just takes your contacts and makes a feature film that is starring the three of you, right? It's just on your phone. And then you tweet it at somebody. Ha ha ha. Look, we lost the first part, but the end was good, or something. It's funny, my friend Dagan bet me that he wouldn't see, I can't remember what the length he said, if we said 20 or 10 years or something, but that he wouldn't see a film on Netflix made by AI. I think he said in the next 10 years. I'm gonna say next 15 years. That wouldn't be, how am I saying the sentence? You get it. So basically he was betting he wouldn't see a film on Netflix that was indistinguishable from a human-made film, like Scorsese or whoever else, but made by AI. And he bet me a beer, which I don't care because I don't really drink, but I was like, yeah, I'll take that bet. Because I think that's one of those technologies where already, and I've heard some people talk about AI plateaus that I think are not taking into account how fast technology is already accelerating, and to include a technology that evolves its knowledge base and only just starting to be touching on it. Not to mention that evolutionary learning can be then applied to further evolutionary learning. It seems unlikely that won't be an exponential growth that comes out of that. And, obviously, it may not be exponential yet, but I don't think we are far from that. And I think when that does happen, those things that seem crazy right now are going to seem obvious and easy. And that includes filmmaking, typing some stuff into your phone, or probably not even typing it, probably thinking it, depending on how far Elon's Neuralink or whatever, how far that stuff gets. So to me, I told this to my girlfriend, who was shocked and appalled. She's a film producer and was not excited about this idea. And I get it. I love being on set and I love the process of filmmaking. That's why I'm doing this at all. But I don't think that means you don't have you can't do that anymore. I think it means you get to do that when you want to. That piece becomes a hobby, which I think is okay. I think it's good when the fun parts of creativity can become a hobby, because then you do it for pure joy and not because you're trying to accomplish some job. But I also think that the ability to dream that freely of what you want your story to be or your images you see to be is going to be a wild creative evolution of human imagery. And because right now, as I said in the previous video, there's already a ton of content out there that you kind of have to work to not be the same as. And so if you think of a world where people can dream anything they want, and there's competition to see who can dream up the more wild thing or more interesting thing, the cycle that we're currently in, which I think it's already doing interesting things because of new influences, but of how we see a story or creative happening is going to evolve dramatically in unexpected ways. In the same way people did not expect before YouTube came out that ASMR or people opening plastic eggs or popping balloons under tires could be a wildly popular and engaging piece of media for people. I think new dreams and new ideas in creative spaces are going to do some wild things for our concepts of everything: action, comedy, and hopefully it is a way our minds are opened more, because as you guys know from my previous video, I'm cynical that I'm being distracted by the deep bass. I was just walking by. What was I saying? Oh, right. I just don't think the social media world is a negative thing. I think it's actually an amazing thing. I think it's how we're handling it, and this current piece of people looking to be critical of each other is the part that needs to fall away, because open creativity and shared ideas and evolution of ideas, I think, is a magic thing, and having that be accelerated by AI is going to make for a really wild world that I'm excited about.